Preview.
Hello and welcome. My name is Dahra Global and you are watching the Mojo story. Big relief for 8 former Indian Navy personnel who were serving a death sentence in Qatar. Now that sentence has been reversed. Now they were sentenced to death after over a year of detention in Qatar. The charges against them were not publicly disclosed. The Indian government had expressed shock at the time of the verdict. Now, remember, this verdict was announced by a lower court and then the appeal was made in a higher court. Now, India had been trying to secure their release by offering consular access. That access was provided. Legal assistance had also been provided to them. The family members have, in the meantime, have always been appealing the Indian government for help. Now, MEA has come out with a statement. If I may read that statement, it says, "We have noted the verdict today of the Court of Appeal of Qatar in the Dahra Global case in which the sentences have been reduced." Very important to underline this, that the sentences have been reduced. The detailed judgment is awaited. We are in close touch with the legal team as well as the family members to decide on the next steps. Our ambassador to Qatar and other officials were present in the Court of Appeal today, along with the family members. We have stood by them since the beginning of the matter and will continue to extend all consular and legal assistance. We will also continue to take up the matter with the Qatari authorities. Due to the confidential and sensitive nature of proceedings of the case, it would not be appropriate to make any further comment at this juncture. So that is the MEA statement clearly saying that the uh, sentence has been reduced. Now, what does it imply? It probably means that the death sentence has been reduced. So, what is that? That we don't know, but death sentence has been commuted. This point seems to be clear here, that there has been reduction in that maximum sentence that was awarded to these 8 Indians, 8 former Indian Navy officers who were in Qatar. Now, remember, this has been done. The verdict was passed by a lower court and it went to the higher court. Now, what is the basis for this reduction of the sentences? Those details are not known and they have not been mentioned here. The charges against them were neither publicly disclosed by Qatar nor uh, India, explained those things in detail. But at that time of verdict, there was shock that was expressed by India, and the consular access was later sought, which was given, and that led to the reduction in the sentence. Now, it's very important to note here that Prime Minister Modi met with the Emir of Qatar when COP28 meeting was taking place. Now, this issue has been discussed at the highest levels, at the highest political level. Now, it is also important to note here that this does not mean a pardon. There is no pardon as far as this statement, one gets to understand this statement. There has been a reduction in the sentence. Now, on your screen, you can see the details of the officers who have been serving that sentence in Qatar. Commandant S.K. Gupta specialized in gunnery, uh, and so are the details of others that flashed on the screen. Sailor in the Navy, that is Ragesh, only non commissioned officer to be involved in the case. That is the second uh, member of that team of former naval officers in Qatar who were given the death sentence by a lower court. That appeal was made in the higher court. But India has been working uh, behind the doors in close coordination with Qatari authorities at the highest level to ensure that there is some reduction in the sentence. It is not a pardon, as I was saying, it is just a reduction in the sentence, which essentially means that it cannot be a death sentence now. It may be less than that, but what is it? We really don't know. But clearly, it seems that the death sentence has been reduced now due to the efforts of the MEA and due to the efforts of the leaders at the highest level. Prime Minister Modi met with Amir of Qatar at the COP28 summit in Dubai. Obviously, issues would have come up there. The Qatar had given consular access to India to meet with these 8 people. Now, there were reports earlier that they had kept in solitary confinement. What are the charges which resulted in their detention in the first place? We don't know. Qatar did never disclose that. Some said that it could perhaps be spying. It is not clear what are the charges, but after serving a detention for over a year, they were sentenced. The death sentence was awarded to them by a lower court, and then obviously the next logical step was to take the appeal to the higher court, which was done, and a process was followed. There, that reduction in death sentence has taken place. Now there are different other things here that need to be explained. Every year, the ruler of the Qatar gives pardon to to those people who are detained there, to prisoners, once in a year on their national day. Perhaps they could be released on that day. We really don't know what does this sentencing reduction of that sentence means. We'll have to get to those details, but clearly for now it's a big relief to the family members of these 8 former Indian Navy personnel who are serving a death sentence in Qatar. And clearly, it also underscores the important ties between India and Qatar, the ties at the highest level. The two have been friendly countries. There are so many Indians working in Qatar in different capacities. And of course, they would have also been worried at that point in time when this news was released that these 8 men have been awarded death sentence. So clearly, this is an indicator of the good relations between India and Qatar that's always been there, and Prime Minister Modi's personal sort of a touch and friendship with the rulers of Qatar, UAE, and other countries. Recently, Prime Minister Modi had spoken also to the ruler of Saudi Arabia. So India has been having good relations uh, with those countries, and of course, this is another indication of that. On your screen, you can see the details of these 8 people, 8 former Indian Navy personnel who were working for a private firm providing services in Qatar's military and security agencies. They were sentenced to death after over a year of detention that was done by a lower court. The charges against them were not publicly disclosed. Indian government at that point in time, a couple of months ago, expressed shock at the verdict and had been since then actively working to secure their release. Consular access was given, legal assistance was also provided. Family members of these uh, ex Navy personnel have been appealing to the Indian government for help, and help has been India has been working behind the doors at different levels, at multiple levels, to ensure that there is reduction in the sentence. It obviously does not mean they are released at this point in time. It does not mean they are pardoned at this point in time. What is though clear is that the death sentence seems to have been commuted, and now we'll have to wait and see what exactly is the sentence that they are serving for. Now, this was the verdict was given by the lower court, and it was challenged in the higher court. MEA has come up with a statement today. To recap for our viewers, the statement that MEA has released, it says, we have noted the verdict today of the Court of Appeal of Qatar in Dahra Global case, in which the sentence have been reduced. The detailed judgment is awaited. We are in close touch with the legal team as well as the family members to decide on next steps. So obviously there has to be next step, but the most important step, that's the death sentence. There has been a reduction in that sentence. That's very important to note here. Our ambassador to Qatar and other officials were present in the Court of Appeal today, along with the family members who have stood by them since the beginning of the matter, with the family members of these 8 men. And we will continue to extend all consular and legal assistance. We will also continue to take up the matter with the Qatari authorities. Due to the confidential and sensitive nature of proceedings of this case, it would not be appropriate to make any further comment at this juncture. That is the MEA statement. So the big news is that the death sentence that 8 ex-Navy personnel were serving in Qatar has now been reduced, and that's been confirmed by the MEA. We'll keep a close track of this news and bring you more developments about that. But for now, thanks so much for watching and for joining the Mojo Story.
Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.